Welcome back to the PAC Sports Network for our halftime show, as we're now joined by head men's basketball coach for Chatham, Coach David Richards. Coach, your team is riding high after a big win over Bethany. I mean, what was working so well for your team that allowed for 123 points?
Well, I think it started with Monday's practice. We weren't very happy or pleased with our two results from the previous week. And credit to our guys, they came ready on Monday to prepare for a big game on Wednesday. We had two very good practices Monday and Tuesday. I think those practices really set the tone for Wednesday's game.
Well, you guys definitely set the tone right from the beginning, pretty much. I mean, 123 points, an incredible effort. But I want to dive into a little bit about this year's team because it's a unique team that has a lot of returners, but also some new faces. You bring in some transfers like Luca Robinson, Hunter Verling, and Elijah Sutton, who is no stranger in the Chatham community. But how have they been able to adjust to a new team and just adapt to the style of play you guys have at Chatham?
Yeah, and those three guys are experienced older players. They understand how important practice is for a season. They understand the grind of a season, so it's been very easy for them to kind of get adjusted to a new system. Obviously, Elijah was already with us, so it's kind of been easier for him. But those guys are so experienced and so mature. It's been really easy for them to get them, into our system.
Well, in terms of Elijah, I mean, just a unique situation. He starts his career at Chatham, then transfers, then comes back. So, how did, first off, that all kind of come about with him returning? But then also, what's it been like having him back with the fact that, like you said, he's already aware and is understanding what you guys do at the program?
Yeah, Elijah had a fantastic freshman year for us. He was playing his best basketball down the stretch of the season that year. He ended up transferring to St. John's in Minnesota, but he stayed really close and best friends with Marcos and Trone. So those guys really stayed in contact, and he actually experienced two bad injuries when he was at St. John's. So he didn't get to play for 2 straight years. So he had the extra eligibility. So when he had that extra, few years left, he was interested in transferring, and we were lucky enough to already have a relationship with him. He was comfortable with our style, our coaching style. So we were very, very pleased to get him back in a Chatham uniform.
Yeah, I'm sure probably the easiest recruiting that you've had to do in a long time with an already previous relationship with him. But there's some other players that have been a nice emergence in the roster. Dion Pinkett, one of them, a player that saw some time a little bit last year, but he has really shot through the ranks. How much growth have you seen from him this year?
Yeah, and he's having a fantastic year, and we kind of saw it last year in practice, just kind of the impact he made in practice, and some of the things you really can't teach or coach, the plays he makes. His high Q is off the level. His defensive instincts are great. His rebounding ability for a guard is tremendous. I think he's averaging close to 9 rebounds a game. He's close to almost 3 steals a game. He impacts the game in so many different ways, which impacts winning. Like he impacts the game without even touching the basketball. And I just think he's going to continue getting better. I think he has a chance to be a very good player here.
Well, definitely the things that don't show up in the stat sheet, they go a very long way, as you know. But a player that's been around the block a little bit at Chatham, he's been really one of the most consistent themes for the Cougars. Simon Boyer continues to be a really good player for your team. How have you seen his leadership kind of develop and just see him be able to adapt to different teams and new lineups over the last few seasons?
Yeah, Simon, he's our only 4 year player right now. He's been through a lot here. He's been on some really good teams. He knows what all goes into winning here. He understands that it's a process. You got to prepare every day for every team. He knows how good the league is, and anyone can beat anybody. His leadership has just been tremendous this year on a day-to-day basis. Going away from just how he's playing, he's done a great job helping younger guys, helping new guys. I think he's going to have a very good end of the stretch here with his play.
And I'm sure that's so important for, especially with guys that have come in and kind of tried to, quickly establish themselves in the lineup, being able to have that, sounding board, if you will, to lean on like Simon. I'm sure that's been great for the team. But other guys who have now come back for a second year, like Jeffrey Helm and Isaiah Smith, they continue to etch out really crucial roles, and especially in terms of their shooting ability. What does that allow for your team offensively to do in the half court with their ability to shoot the three ball?
Yeah, I mean, Jeff is just a unbelievable shooter. There's times we tell him to shoot more. He made 8 threes last night and probably could get up a couple more. We want him to be super aggressive on offense. I mean, his ability to shoot the basketball, really gives other guys space to kind of attack off the bounce. It's teams really can't help off him because he has such a quick release and deep range. So just him being out there allows other guys some open space to attack. But Jeff has been really good the last few games. We're looking for him to have a big stretch here down the end of the season. But I think he's one of the best shooters in the league.
Well, I know that all of this talent has obviously turned into a lot of success for your team, and you guys have been really kind of the model of consistency and success in the conference the last few years, and especially capturing a handful of championships as well. What do you think has been the key to that success? I know that a lot of people can mention the talent, the coaching staff, so on and so forth, but what do you think it maybe is something that is underneath and maybe below the surface that people don't realize has been key to that success?
Well, the number one thing is talent. You need to have really good players. That's first and foremost. We've been blessed with some very good players. That's you need that first. But I also think at the beginning of the year we do talk about championships, and that's one of our goals. But to get there, it's a process, and you got to be your team has to be willing to prepare to go through that process. You don't win a championship the first day of practice or the second. It's got to be out through the whole entire season. So not really getting caught up and just winning a championship, but falling into preparing and practicing every day, the film, the extra workouts, all that stuff goes into being a good team. And if you can do that right on top of having really good players, then you have a chance have a really good season.
Well, Coach, before we get you out of here, and again, thanks so much for spending a little time on the halftime show today. But how do you keep it rolling after that big win against Bethany on Wednesday? And especially not only keep it rolling into the rest of the season, but also make another run to the championship this year?
Yeah, you know what? After the game, we told our guys they did a great job. It was a great win for us. Enjoy the win tonight, but the next day it's a new day. You got to get ready for Franciscan. I mean, you can look at this league right now from top to bottom. Anybody can be anybody, right? So you have to be ready on every single day. Franciscan's a very good team. They've beat some very good teams in our league, right? So you have to prepare every single day for every single opponent, or you can start dropping in some standings. So, it's a day-to-day process for us. We want to take one day at a time, get better each day. Who's ever up next for us, we'll be ready for them.
Well, Coach, we're definitely excited to see how the rest of the season unfolds for you and the Cougars. And again, thanks so much for stopping by today.
Thanks, Jack.
That's Chatham head men's basketball coach David Richards. Don't go anywhere, as we will have more of the second half coming up right here on the PAC Sports Network.